Hey guys, it's James, and today we're going to be looking at problems B and D in the extra practice portion of GLA number 10. So the instructions read, write both the complete and shorthand noble gas electron configurations for each of the following elements or ions. And the first problem we have is sulfur. In order to do this, we're going to have to go ahead and look at a periodic table. So sulfur is over here, it's element number 16 on the periodic table. In order to write the electron configuration for sulfur, what we're going to do is move horizontally across the periodic table and then downwards, and we're going to continue that process and continue labeling where each of the electrons are until we get to sulfur. So we'll start that right up here. The first row we have is the 1s row, or the 1s orbital, and there are 2 electrons in there. Next we have the 2s orbital, and it has its 2 electrons inside. We're going to jump to the 2p orbital and say that there are 6 electrons in there, so this is going to be a 2p6. Then we're going to come down to the 3s orbital and say there are 2 electrons there. And then finally we're going to jump to the 3p orbital, but in this case, to get to sulfur, we only need the 4 electrons. So we're going to finish this electron configuration with 3p4. And that's going to be the complete electron configuration for sulfur. For the shorthand version, we're going to start at the noble gas that comes prior to the element that we're labeling. So if we're labeling sulfur, we're going to be starting at neon, and we're going to put neon in brackets to indicate that this is our starting point. After neon, we have the 3s2 electrons and the 3p4 electrons that we have to include, and that's going to be the shorthand noble gas electron configuration for sulfur. Next we'll look at iodine, which is way down here. It's element number 53. We're going to go through the same process. To get to iodine, we have the 1s2 orbitals filled, we have the 2s2 orbital filled, the 2p6 orbital filled, the 3s2 orbital filled, the 3p6 orbital filled, the 4s2 is also filled, and then after the 4s, you're going to jump into this block right here, which is known as the transition metals. When you go from the 4s2 into the transition metals here, we call them the 3d orbitals, and there are 10 electrons there. You guys don't have to really know the reason why we go from 4 to 3, but it does have to do with energy levels, and it's just out of the scope of this course. So that's something that you guys will probably learn about later if you take higher division chemistry classes. But for now, you just have to be aware that it goes from 4s to 3d, and then it goes back to 4p6. After 4p6, you go to 5s2, and then you jump to the 4d section. And after 4d, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 electrons in the 5p orbital. So that's going to be the complete electron configuration for iodine. And for the shorthand version, we will start at the noble gas that comes prior to iodine, which is going to be krypton. And to indicate that we're starting at krypton, we're going to put this in brackets. And we're just going to provide the rest of it. So we have the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5s2 orbital with its electrons, the 4d10 coming right after that, and then the 5p5 portion of the electron configuration right there. And that's going to be the shorthand version for iodine. And that's how you do problems B and D for GLA number 10. Thanks guys, and I'll see you soon.